Hey guys, this is Frank Chen with REIClub.com, the only site you'll need as a real estate investor. And today I have a quick video for you on what exactly a lease option is and why you'd be using this strategy in your current market. So for those of you out there who are not familiar with what a lease option or a lease purchase is, other common names are rent to own, lease to purchase, lease with the option to buy. Now let's go ahead and jump right on in. What exactly is a lease option? Well, a lease option is really two separate but related agreements. The first one is a lease agreement, which is pretty much a standard agreement, okay, to rent a home, and it sets the terms of the lease. Now the second half is the option agreement. Now this is the right to purchase the home within a specified period of time for a fixed purchase price. Now all lease options are a unilateral agreement where seller is obligated to sell, but the buyer is not obligated to buy, okay? Now I want to cover some terms that are frequently used when dealing with lease options. First are rent credits. Now rent credits are where a portion of your rent is credited towards the sales price. Generally, it's just a small percentage of your monthly rent, okay? Now, next term I want to cover is option consideration. You have probably also heard option fees, okay? It's an upfront fee paid by the tenant buyer to the seller that gives the tenant buyer the option to buy at a later time at a fixed price, okay? But it's most likely a designated time period. Next is a sandwich lease. The best way to describe it is this. You are the tenant buyer. You have originally agreed to pay $100,000 at a down market, okay? Your monthly payments are $1,000. Well, you find another tenant buyer. You know that the property is going to be worth this much in, say, 3 or 4 years at the end of your option. So you sell to him for $105. You charge him, say, $1,100 or $1,200 a month. So just kind of like small cash flow as well as a small back-end sale value. So that's what a sandwich lease is. Next, an assignment is where you assign the option over to another investor for a fee, and they resume the payments and the ownership of the property at the time of closing or at the end of your option period. Last but not least, what I want to cover is subleasing. You are still this is where you are the primary on the contract, and you simply just find a sublease tenant who just kind of occupies the property and maintains the home. But anything that happens to the property, you still are responsible for taking care of it, okay? Now why lease options? Now, as a buyer, as a seller, it's great to move properties quickly. So in a buyer's market where competition is high and property values have dropped, it's a good way for you to get your properties filled and sold, okay? Now, also, as a seller, you're able to pass on smaller repairs to your tenant buyers, okay? So it saves money there. You don't have to worry about certain repairs. And also, the greatest thing about being a seller in a lease option is that you deal with tenant buyers, okay? Which means they have a vested interest in the property. They're going to take better care of the home while they live there versus a traditional tenant where the possibility of where they could mess it up in, say, a year because there's no vested interest in it, okay? Now, let's move on. As a buyer, how does a lease option benefit you? Well, when you go in at a reduced sales price, or a fixed sales price, you get to wait for appreciation of the market or the property. So that's a great way to make money there. Also, as a buyer, sellers provide repair credits to improve on the value of the home, which is always beneficial to you. Also, little cash up front when you're paying up option fees versus, say, a buying up front where you have to put, say, a 20% down payment. You're talking about $2,000 to $4,000 versus $20,000 to $30,000, okay? Now, as a buyer, you're not obligated to sell. Say, what if the market does not improve? Well, you're not obligated to stick in the deal. That's low risk for you. Also, as a buyer, for hard time qualifying for loans, your credit's not great, don't worry, you're not dealing with banks, you're dealing with the seller, okay? And also, you don't deal with no taxes and less liability, which means you don't own the property yet, so you don't pay property taxes. Therefore, your liability is reduced. Last but not least are your investors, okay? The benefits for lease options for investors is you're not locked in for a long period of time. Generally, it's a 12-month period with a right to renew annually. Some contracts do last longer, 3, 5, 7, 10 years, depending. But, these are guaranteed for you to have cash flow, especially a longer contract. So, multiple ways to profit, guys, as an investor. You can collect on the upfront fees. You can collect on the monthly rent when you sublease, when you sell the property, when you assign the deal. But really what you need to focus on, what are you paying and what are you charging? Because that ultimately will determine your cash flow. Generally, your charging will be higher than what you're paying. Okay, that's important. Next are your assignments. My advice to you is if you're going to be doing an assignments, seek legal advice, do the proper research because assignments are a little bit more risky when formulating those contracts. Okay, so seek legal advice when it comes to assignments. But in conclusion, guys, lease options are a great real estate investing strategy for buyers, sellers, and investors, okay? So including this strategy in among your real estate tactics will only make you a stronger, more educated investor, which always equals more dollar signs, okay? So the last advice I'm really gonna leave you with is what can really make or break a good lease option is the agreement, okay? So my advice to you is to be certain that you fully understand the lease option agreement before signing anything, okay? That's the best way to protect yourself. So guys, once again, this is Frank Chin with REIClub.com bringing you another investing video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to leave comments below about what you thought about it or what you would like to see in the future, as well as subscribe to our channel so we can keep you informed when new videos are posted. Once again, thank you so much for your time. Good investing. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.